This podcast has been brought to you by Voyager's World. We are building the most amazing hospitality network.
Sir, good to see you.
Yes.
It's good to see you again in Kiev.
Been 2 years to pretty much the month. Exactly.
Almost exactly, yes. The story is funny, how we met here. Well, we know each other from Miami, right? From years.
9 years.
Hashing, 9 years or so, hashing in Miami. But then one day, Jesse sent me a message saying something like, I know that you know Kiev very well, and you asked for some advice,
where to eat, where to go
where to go, and all that. And I asked where you were. Mm-hmm. You were at the McDonald's on Kreshat.
Just got out of the MRT.
Exactly. And then I said, why don't you go across the street? There is a brewery, and there we can have this conversation face to face.
Sure enough, there was. Much easier than I thought.
Much easier. That was funny. That was my Jason Bourne moment. Saying,
yeah.
We can have this discussion face to face. So yeah, man, many years in Florida.
Lots
then you went. Where did you go? Remember, for a while I was in Florida, but you weren't.
Well, in 2015, in 2016, January of 2016, I decided I had everything together, and one of the things I've always wanted to do is continue to travel. And so 2016, it presented an opportunity. Things in Miami kind of died down. And so 2016, I have a funny story about how I ended up. I bought a one-way ticket for $73 from Miami to Taipei. $73. I had an American Express card, so when you get the American Express, they'll give you one domestic flight for free. But it just happened to be I had the right amount of air miles, and they gave me the free flight, just had to pay taxes to go to Taipei. And I basically went to Taipei January 16th, and I was going to make my way from there. So I arrived right smack in the middle of Chinese New Year. So everything was closed down.
Oh, shit.
But I was in Taiwan, all the way until August before I moved on as well. And so I left, and it's actually been ever since. I've lived outside the United States.
Mm-hmm. But mostly in China.
China, yeah, Southeast Asia. I lived in Taiwan. And then in the summer, I had about 6 weeks to go traveling. And so I started in Bali and just kind of worked my way up through Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, and then flew back to Taiwan. And I stayed there for a month. I did a summer camp. And then I said, hey, I love Vietnam. And so I just went off to Vietnam, packed all my stuff again, and went to Vietnam. And I was going to go to Hanoi first, but ended up in Ho Chi Minh City and stayed there for a year.
Mm-hmm. But I have to ask this, and it can sound weird, but it's sincere. Why Asia? What was did you have an attraction for Asia before, or did you discover it while you were there?
Well, I had done Europe. I was very fortunate in the year 2000 with school. Mm-hmm. I was a part of one of our term in Europe programs. There's 40 selected students. And so we had a really good teacher who took us through 10 countries in 10 weeks. And when I say it's like intensive, we started in Paris. We covered 10 countries, learning about its culture, history, pretty much everything you could see. I've seen more museums than probably some museum curators. What the hell are they called? Curators. Curators.
Yeah.
Because I've seen them all. I've seen every ancient ruin, museum, cathedral.
Well, how old were you?
I was, at that time, it was probably 20 years ago, so 22, 23.
Okay.
And then I had come back to Europe in 2011, 2013. And so for me, Asia was just something that I wanted to see next. And everybody's talking about China. And I said, you know what? I want to go see what's going on in these countries. And the best way to do it is to work, travel, and kind of play. So I just had the opportunity, took it, and rolled my dice and had no idea if I would like it, hate it, or come home, within months. And it's been 5 years now. 5 years.
And you still want to go back, or
I'm here.
Or are you satisfied?
It's something with the lifestyle, though. It's one thing to be an American in America, right? You're kind of you're an American in America, nothing special. But when you're kind of like an American outside of America, you're kind of some way kind of like special.
You're a small celebrity in certain countries.
Yeah. So, but it's also just, you can teach English for 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, and you get the holidays off. Usually it's, depending what country you're in, it's Chinese New Year, it's Tet, whatever it is, usually in January. Yeah. You have the summers off.
I heard a few times already a joke that if you can, you do. If you cannot do, you teach. If you can teach, then you teach English abroad.
It could be very well true. I'm not quite sure. But from a lot of the other people I've seen doing it, that's definitely true for them. Not for me.
Not for you.
Not for me.
Yeah. Can you imagine? I think I am the proof that it's true, because when I was here in Kiev in 2015, out of curiosity, I knew that I was going to spend the entire winter. So I thought, can I make money here enough to live as a foreigner that is not here for any official reason?
Yeah.
And I don't speak the local language, or at least I don't speak it well enough. So I thought, okay, can I completely wing this? So I started looking at schools first, and I one school readily invited me. They were pretty happy to have a native speaker, and they sent me to one class, and I realized very quickly how bad I am at teaching English, because I speak relatively well, and I understand the language well. I can even write it super well. But if you ask me about the rules, if you ask me to enunciate any of the grammar rules, it's difficult. So I know how to use the rules, but I don't know how to teach them.
Yeah.
And that became very evident the first day. So I went back to the school, and I said, look, you guys have the regular classes, and you have the English clubs, which is just conversation.
Yeah.
There is no grammar, it's just talking. Give me English club only.
Yeah.
But they had so many that they could fill up my schedule with that.
Right.
So that was giving me some money. And then it was easy. I was just like, I was just talking to people, entertaining them, and making it as much as I could a comedy.
That's exactly
a comedy
what
situation.
It's exactly what you should do.
Exactly. But then I had another idea. I thought, people, they want to learn. They do not just want to learn English. A lot of people want to learn improv comedy. And I have some training in improv. So I thought, I'll just do it. I created an event on Facebook, and I shared with all the expats and all my Ukrainian friends, asking them to share that with their friends that speak English. And I set up with the Blues Bar here in the city. And so I took their Saturday 5 p.m. to 5 to 7. And everyone would pay me the equivalent of like $10.
Oh, okay, good.
And I was bringing like 20 people at a time. I was making $200 for 2 hours of work.
Yeah.
Now, with that plus the English classes, I was making about an average of $250 a week in average. My rent, food, transportation, beer, and gasoline, I was spending about $100 a week.
Right. So you're coming out ahead.
Twice as much.
Yeah, but you come out ahead, you're traveling, you're living a good life.
Right away. It took me like a month to get to that point.
So who's stupid now? All the people working the desk jobs? Or us? Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of the way I looked at it. It's like, and plus, it's much cheaper to live in these countries. And, we can get paid so much more.
Yeah, however, there is a reason that I'm not doing it now. In my case, I thought, at some point, it was a lot of fun. Of course, I was having a great time, had extra money. And even though for American numbers, I was making poverty line money or below it.
Yeah.
But for Ukraine, I was living like a king. Yeah. But I thought, but is this what I want to be doing, like long term? It was definitely no, because I had other plans that I wanted to put together. But for if I was to be in a country for a year, I know exactly what I would do. If I landed in any strange country and I knew I was going to spend like a year there, I would restart or find the hashers. I would join the hashers there. I would teach some classes because you make a lot of friends too.
Absolutely.
Like you're just doing the English clubs. You make a lot of friends and a few girlfriends. But I didn't say that. And you make some money. And then I would do comedy, and I would discover all the bars that have open mic in English, and I would do comedy. Every time, by the way. So I did that for a few months, right? Like after 3 or 4 months of that, I was invited to do comedy professionally at a club in Kiev. So I was making, it was every Saturday. We did it for like 6 weeks, and they would pay us like $100. So technically I am a professional comedian because I was paid to do it.
But
even though I still suck at it, but I suck at it, but I have a great time doing it. So it's already funny to me. When I tried to do comedy back in Miami, it was not nearly as fun. My technique was improving. Yes, I was getting better on the stage. But then it was super competitive because everybody there is local and they are all trying to make the same dollar. While I was here, I didn't care if I was making money or not. To me, just the idea of doing comedy, being on the stage in a country that is not English speaking.
Right.
So I know that I'm trying to carve into that niche of expats and people that understand the language. That was fantastic enough. And that is another thing. If you're doing comedy and outside of the US, if half of the room understands the joke and laugh, the other half will laugh with them.
Absolutely.
Because they would just presume that they didn't understand your English. But they go with it. Right?
Of course.
If you do that in America, people are tougher. Especially in like I noticed the heckling or the drunkenness and all that in America was a lot more difficult to deal with. So here, easy. I will do that again. And I'll probably do it in Sweden next.
But living outside the United States presents so much more opportunity as well. I mean, I've seen things, I've been invited to do things, I've been a part of things that just simply by putting yourself out there. I mean, I've toured, garment factories in China. I've been to the denim factories where they're actually making the denim for jeans. I've been to like electronic shows. I've been to some like the Canton Fair, which is like the largest, exhibit hall in the world.
Similarly to that, when I go to the biker festivals, like I'm going to one tomorrow, when they do their press conference, they invite me to go and do the press conference. For what? It's just because I'm the one American there, right? Or I got equipment for my motorcycle. I get the bike fixed for free. I get so much stuff. And and part of it is, of course, they want to make a friend. They want to network with you, and and people are being legitimately nice to you. But there is also some of it is the novelty of having the American friend or the American biker here. But another is a different effect, and I have a good example in my friend Johnny when he came here and he went to a store like 5 minutes to 6. So the store was getting ready to close, right? And when it's close to 6, they put the security guard on the door already. So they are trying to not get any new customers.
Yeah.
Because God forbid you make them work past 6,
Absolutely.
right? But he came to the door and the security guard told him, no, we are closing. And he said, no, but then he said in English, because he didn't speak any Russian.
Yeah.
He said in English, no, I just need to get one thing. It's very quick. And the guy didn't understand anything, but because it was in English, he opened the door, let him in. And right behind him, there was a family of Ukrainians, right? And the guy closed the door. And they said, well, you know what, we want to get in. You let the other one in,
Yeah.
you know. And he said, yeah, but he's American.
Well, you can't get away with a lot of things because
You do.
as a native, you should know better.
Yeah.
But as the foreigner, it's like, well, come on. And you can
They
use
are
that
very
too.
accommodating, yes. And sometimes when people ask, or they are afraid to visit a country because they don't understand the language, I insist to explain to them, no, that's when it's better.
Yeah.
You should go when you don't know the language, because then you are going to really learn how to solve the problems. You are going to have people will help you more. They help you more when you don't speak any other language than if you speak it badly.
Yeah.
So if you just don't speak any of it, they will be very accommodating. But there is another factor, which is because they also cannot communicate with you if they don't speak English. Because they cannot explain the rules or because they cannot explain what they want, they will be more accommodating.
They can
with
be.
you.
They can be. They can let things slide a little bit more. They
lot.
get a little bit, especially with the language, like you're talking about. You can get away with a little bit more, and they kind of. I don't want to say they hold you to a different standard, but they don't get you in all the particulars. If there's something you do and you don't understand, and plus a lot of times they don't want to deal with the foreigner.
Yeah.
If it's something that's not too horrendous or too out of control, they'll let you go.
Yeah. They'll let
Unless
you
you're in China.
Exactly
Unless
right.
you're in China.
In China,
China, they'll get you. There's a lot of rules in China, and they don't care who you are, especially the foreigner. They'll find ways to get money out of you. So not through extortion, whatnot. But
talking
paying the
about
fines.
money, when I travel here by motorcycle, I take all my money and I put it somewhere that is not evident, and then I take just like a few dollars, like $5, a few dollars equivalent in local currency, and a few euros, like a 10 euro bill, or a 5 euro bill. But I crumple them and I put them in my pocket, right? And my wallet is also separate. My documents are separate. So when and it happened to me 4 times already in Ukraine. By the way, to be more precise, all 4 times I was wrong. Either I was speeding, or I did a wrong turn, or I did something shitty, right? So the police stopped me. So first I just showed my documents, and I showed the motorcycle documents. So they already see that, oh shit, this is an American, okay? And then they don't understand the papers. And whatever Russian I know, I pretend that I don't know any.
Right.
So I become and if they speak any English, I pretend I'm not understanding them.
Absolutely.
So now I don't speak Russian and they don't speak English.
Yep.
No matter how good their English is.
There's tricks that we can do.
And if their English by one time, one of the cops was very good at English, I switched to Portuguese instantly. And I start to talk to him in Portuguese, so to make sure we don't understand each other.
Yeah.
But I know what he's saying, right? And then 2 of these times, they just explained to me what was the rule that I broke and told me to not do that anymore and told me to keep going.
Yep.
But twice, they called me to their car, and that means you are going to sit down with them and they are going to show you the big problem that you have, and they are going to show the calculations, and they have these tables and lists of how much your fine would be, right?
Yeah.
So they show it would be like 300 euro fine or something. And then they start asking, so how do you want to take care of it? Then I put my hand in my pocket and I start getting that those bits of money.
Yes.
And you can see the guy is looking at me like he's disgusted. Like, Jesus Christ, only one American comes through in a month, and it's a broke one, right?
Yeah.
And they start feeling sorry for me or disgusted. And then at some point in one of those cases, I offered the dollars and the euros to him. It was like the equivalent of like $15.
Yeah.
He took the euro. He gave me the dollars back. He didn't want it.
Yeah.
Or I end up paying the equivalent of like 10 euros,
right.
in bribes, and then they let me go.
Yeah.
Allegedly. Nothing. Everything that I'm saying here is fiction.
Right.
All right. So the pretending that you don't know the language can get you out of some sticky situations.
Speaking broken English is something I can do very well.
Uh-huh.
And, it's... The one thing I like about traveling within Europe, people don't really know where I'm from. I don't really stand out as an American.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they'll think I'm from Turkey. Sometimes they'll think I'm from Greece, even though I have like dark brown eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds kind of funny, but my skin changes color. And I can blend in with people if I grow my beard out. So a lot of times when I just ask people, where do you think I'm from? And I will use my broken English accent. They never say America. And so I can really kind of blend in. I've never had a problem while I've traveled. I've never had somebody single me out, never had somebody yell at me like, oh, you stupid Americans. I've never had these problems. Now, I've heard the stories from other people.
I heard the stories too, but I'll tell you this. I had people in humor, people make fun of me, like strangers make fun of me. But that's all right. I have a sense of humor too. I don't give a shit. But I never had someone being hostile to me.
Yeah.
Anywhere in Europe.
No, I've never experienced it
Never
myself.
happened to me. Even in France, when I started the conversation with the little bit of French that I have, and then I exhausted that, and I continued the conversation in English, pretending that I didn't switch the language.
Right.
They still made an effort and tried to help me.
Yeah.
Even in Paris, they still try to help me.
Yeah.
So it's if the French are not shitty to you, then nobody's going to be shitty to you.
That could be true.
And I had a really good time in Europe, all over the place.
That's why I keep coming back. I mean, I've been here 2000, 2011, 2013. Actually, I just forgot, 2018. I spent, 2 years ago I saw you, I spent the whole summer in Europe. And I've never had a problem. And I always try to learn a few words just to kind of get me through something.
Yeah.
But nothing that will save my life.
Yeah.
But my broken English has helped me far more than anything.
And knowing, of course, knowing English, but if you know a little bit of the local language, then you can also do shopping, you can negotiate with the cab driver, you can solve all kinds of problems. And I learned if I go to the supermarket, and I always make a list of what I want to buy. Anyway, being in a foreign supermarket, I end up buying a few other things that I just got curious and I want to try. But usually I go to the market with a list. But if I am in a different country, I go to Google and I save a photo of each item.
Yes, that's what you...
So if I am in the supermarket, I show a photo to anybody.
Yep, they know what it is.
Not to the employees, show a photo to anyone.
Yep.
They'll help you.
And the funny thing is also trying to play it out like charades. Like fish or cow are making the moo moo, pluck, 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 pluck. Is this pluck, pluck, pluck or moo? And they look at you like, the hell is this foreigner doing? And then they kind of understand, like, is this chicken or is this pork or is this, moo? So you got your moo, your oink oink, and then you got your pluck, pluck. And so they look at you kind of like funny at first. Then they kind of realize, this guy don't speak my language. So then they'll tell you like, this is the one that you want. So there are some comical moments, and if you can have fun with it too.
You can have a good time doing that. Especially if you go to a supermarket and you need something like ice trays.
Yeah, no.
Ooh, in Europe, ice trays are difficult to find. Well, I found it everywhere I looked.
I had to go to IKEA in China to get the silverware tray. They had a huge pallet of it. It's only $1. But in China, they don't use forks, knives, forks, knives, spoons. They use chopsticks, and they have like a drying rack. So you can go anywhere, and you're never going to find the silverware tray.
So if you go to someone's home and suddenly you're in charge of cooking, and you are going around their kitchen and figuring out, you're not going to find a silverware tray.
Not in China. I mean, you'll find like a tray that has things in it, but you're not going to have like your, you separate like your spoon, your knife,
forks and knives. Yeah.
No, I had to go to IKEA. And luckily, they just opened an IKEA in the city I was living in. So I went there and I walked through the whole entire store. And the only thing I bought...
in IKEA, no matter what you buy, you have to walk the whole entire store.
You do, yeah. But the only thing I got through was just the silverware tray. And they looked at me kind of like funny, and I'm like, this is what I need. Just I knew to come to IKEA, and here it was. So we took it home, and...
So here, I'm a member of one of those Facebook groups for expats. And a few days ago, I said, hey, I want ice trays that are good. Either big, like the American ice trays, or at least that for some other reason they're very good. And I got like dozens of responses from expats. Oh my God, I have the same problem. I need that too. I can't find ice. And one guy explained that he's from, I don't remember now, somewhere in America. And he said, I discovered that is a kind of ice tray here that is actually super nice, because the top of the tray is very rigid plastic, and the bottom is soft rubber.
Yeah,
so if you push the ice from the bottom, it pops up. And I love that. Now I want to get those ice trays and bring them to America. Yeah, because they are so good.
In Vietnam, actually, they have, when you go and drink a beer, they have like this very long cylinder type of chunk of ice. And so they put it in your cup, and you pour your beer over it. And they don't have cubes per se.
But so it's a big chunk.
Just a big cylinder chunk of ice. And you'll see guys all over town with their motorbikes delivering these big bags of ice. So, I mean, Vietnamese people use ice, but they're not like little squares. They freeze them much different. They last a lot longer.
A similar thing that I loved, I think it was in Czech Republic, that we order beers, and they say, you can get like a pitcher, right?
Yeah.
I think that we say a pitcher, but they probably have a different word. But it was this jar of beer, right? But it had a wall in the middle, in diagonal. Diagonal wall.
Right.
So they fill the smaller side with ice, and they put it in the freezer. When the ice expands, it pops up. So it goes up a few millimeters.
Yeah.
And it doesn't break the jar.
Right.
And they leave it there, and then they fill the rest with beer and bring it to you. So the beer is, and the wall between them is very thin. So the beer is not touching the water or the ice, but it's transferring the cold.
Keeping it cold.
And it is in a format that as you turn it over to serve the beer, only the beer comes out, the ice stays. It's really nice.
There's only one country I can actually drink beer right off the shelf, and I don't know why it is, but it's only in Germany. I can drink German beer warm. I don't know what they have in it, what makes it that way.
Okay, we are done with this podcast.
But they don't put the darn stuff in the cooler.
Who the fuck is this asshole?
It's not my rules. But you go into a supermarket and they have the row full of beer, and people.
And it's all warm, like old piss.
It's not like the way I want to drink it. But if you try to find one in the cooler, they're already gone. But you'll see everybody, the young people, they just grab them. They walk out and they start drinking them.
I like to say that Europeans make the best beer in the world. They just don't know how to drink it, because
they don't like
most of the time it's not cold enough. But if you go go to any bar, any place, and you ask for Heineken, the Heineken is cold.
Yeah,
because Heineken makes sure their beer is at the right temperature.
Well, this is very common.
They will get my money forever just for that reason.
It's true. But even like when people come to America, they buy the soda in our air conditioned grocery stores.
Yeah.
They think it's already cold enough.
Ask around in Europe what it means Brazilian beer, Brazilian cold.
Okay.
And they'll tell, oh, the Brazilians serve the beer really cold. Because when you go to Brazil, they cool their beer to 34 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
In Celsius, it's like
1 degree.
Whatever, 1 degree. So it's just above freezing,
Yep.
right? And they serve you in a mug that spent the night in the freezer. So the mug is white on the outside, right? And they put that beer, and it's going to be super chill for the next half an hour on the beach. You know, like
it's so damn really hot. You have to drink it cold.
It has to be
I couldn't drink warm
cold.
beer in Brazil. No way.
Yeah. And as I spent so much time in Brazil, I got used to it. I got used to the beer being
The super
very
cold beer.
Super cold.
Yeah.
So even here, like I buy beer. You may notice that we bought some beers to come here, but I had 2 beers that were already on the fridge.
Okay.
So I'm drinking those first, while the others cool off.
Yeah.
And if the beer is not another thing, when I come to visit my friends in America, a lot of them have ice trays for me. Because they know me.
Milton's coming, make some ice.
Or they get their beer. Like one of my friends, Mark, I visited him in Hamilton a few years back. And when I got there, he said, here's the beer for everybody else. But you come over here, show me. He took me to the kitchen. My beer was under the freezer.
Yes.
It was almost touching the freezer. So it was cold. So that's for you.
It's a typical American thing. I do like super cold beer. I always try to keep mine in the freezer as well. But, drinking warm beer from a beer store in Germany, it happens sometimes. It does happen.
I think that there are certain things that happen that make people go from their baseline and then they go into something less than that. So for instance, they become socialist and then they join Antifa and then they start rioting and looting.
That's only if you're living. That's only if you're rent-free in your parents' basement.
And then they become violent and assaulting people and murderers and serial killers. And then at some point they will start enjoying warm beer.
I've never lived in my parents' basement. I've never been part of Antifa. But I'll say you have to sometimes just do as the locals do. And it's
when I'm in Rome, the Romans do like I do. Cold beer.
Cheers to that.
Cold beer.
Cheers to that. I need to start learning that trick.
No, but sometimes I ask my friends, hey, do you have ice trays? As soon as I arrive, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't. Okay, I'm going to the store.
Yeah, I'll be back.
And I'll be back soon.
Yeah, that's very good.
So I come back with that little bag of ice that costs €3 and 2 new ice trays.
Yes.
Keep them.
But you don't put the ice in your beer, though?
Only if I'm desperate.
Okay.
In desperate times, require desperate measure.
Just like drinking warm beer.
There must be something good about you to talk about in this podcast. So let's. By the way, the hashers, right? A lot of our friends are hashers.
A lot of them.
A lot of them. So how did you find it? What is your history through hashing?
So it starts back around 2010. I actually talked to a friend who I worked with. And I said, I want to travel more. Mm-hmm. There should be like a website where, you can like find other travelers and stay with them and do different things. And he said there is. It's called couch surfing. So I was like, how does this work? He goes, it's exactly what you said it is. You basically create an account and you contact people and you can exchange, like you can stay with them, they can stay with you, and this type of thing. So I got involved locally where I was in West Palm, and so I went to some meetup groups, and we met a lot of local, same people that we know today. And then, but when I moved to Miami in 2011, I had contacted you to couch surfing. And then you introduced me to hashing.
I did it?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so we went out to, at the time they had Jimbos out there on Key Biscayne Island, or what it was.
Right.
And Virginia Key, what it was called.
Did I bring some German girls at that time?
That was later. But this is the time I met there. And it was the first time. And for the first time, people don't really realize I'm kind of a pretty conservative person. And until later, then I become very liberal. But I'm very conservative in my appearance. So I first showed up, and we're kind of in out woods. There's people swinging on things. Jimbo's kind of like a hippie place.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around at the crowd.
It was a half redneck, half hippie bar.
Yes.
It was redneck, true.
And these people are kind of like, I'm thinking to myself, what a cult did I just walk into? I see people half dressed, not dressed. And I kind of sat back for a little bit and thought to myself, now, Jesse, you've gotten yourself into some situations before. But shit, this exists and you're here. You better be careful. So I just kind of played it out. And we're having beers and we're going to go running. And I'm like, who the hell does that? You just can't drink beer and start going running. It's going to upset your stomach. It's going to blow you. But actually, quite honestly, I survived it. I enjoyed it, and I came back. So I became a hasher, and I hashed, Mondays, and I think it was Mondays and Wednesdays. And
did you hash outside of U.S. a lot?
I did one time in Taiwan, and for $1 hash in America, for Miami and West Palm and Palm Beaches. That's a bargain.
No, it's $5 now.
It's $5?
Yeah.
It was $1.
But they supply all the beer.
Even $5 is a good bargain because I went to Taiwan. I think they demanded $12. And so the hashes are ran a little different each place. But Miami probably had the cheapest at $1, which people wouldn't think, $1, wow. But yeah, I became a hasher. I went to some hash events up in Orlando. I hashed one time in Taiwan. But the problem is you got to be pretty dedicated in the center around the hashing. When I was in Budapest, I didn't hash. Just because I couldn't wake up on Sunday mornings. I really couldn't. They started at 10 in the morning.
What the fuck?
I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. And so I hashed one time in Taiwan. It was awesome, though, in Taiwan. The places they took you, over rivers, along cliffs, up mountains, through...
I hear that, in general, the Asian hashes are awesome.
It's just the scenery. I mean, look at where you are.
In my opinion, the locations are great in Europe, but the hashes are generally boring. You will notice that it's usually Dead Man Trail and warm beer.
Yeah.
While in America, it's live trail, so you're chasing someone.
Yeah.
The person is laying the trail while you are chasing them. So it's more exciting.
Yeah.
We have more rules in America, but we break them.
Which I broke one big one, which I don't think people have forgiven me for yet. I led them on a half a mile marathon on a Tuesday. On a Monday or Tuesday
I think
night.
I did more than... I think I did one worse than that.
But unannounced.
I laid trail in Coconut Grove once.
Yeah.
And I put a sign saying, beer near. And then there was an arrow. That arrow took them to a 1.2 mile long falls.
Wow. Okay.
And then they came back and they discovered that the beer was actually 30 yards away from this sign that said beer near. So I made them go 2 miles away.
Yeah, that's the good thing about hashing. You have to make it fun. You have to make it entertaining. If it's easy, sometimes you got to rock the boat a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes you need to shake them.
But I got them. It was at Sunny Isles, and in Sunny Isles.
Oh, remember the one we did through the spiders?
Yes.
That we did. People were hating us.
Yeah.
They hate us, but they love us.
It's okay.
But I remember laying that trail, and I would see these big spider webs.
And you told me, don't knock them down.
Don't knock them down. Go around.
Yeah.
But I would go around like,
yeah. Someone's going to come right along and
someone will go right through that.
And actually, they did. Some people said there's all spider webs. Well, welcome to hashing. Welcome to Hashing.
If you don't want
But
to,
you have
if
led
you
some
don't like
really good ones.
spiders, don't be first.
But you've actually really led some good ones. You took us down to Northeast Miami, and the reason why I like hashing is first, you're always going to a new location, and you see things that you would. I mean, we
never
were going
see,
through. Like, you took us to an abandoned golf course.
Yeah.
Some other place like this huge this big overgrown grass places, and you think to yourself, you're running around Miami like on a Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, thinking to yourself, what the hell am I doing? I'm running through these weeds, through tundra.
No, the second time I took them to that abandoned golf course, I discovered that is a vast field of poison ivy.
Oh.
And I lay trail through the poison ivy. I was wearing pants.
Thank God I missed that night because I'm really allergic.
In South Miami, once I lay trail through a cornfield.
Okay.
We've stopped the bus.
Yes.
So I made everybody run to the cornfield, and that was.
But it gives you creativity. I mean, you really, Google Earth. You get on there and you see how can I mess with these people the best.
Yeah.
And hashing's been a lot of fun. I mean, I really enjoyed it in Miami, and I met a lot of great people. And then we did couch surfing and hashing together a lot of times.
Yeah.
And it was a great way to introduce people to Miami. They were doing things they would never do.
Exactly.
And
a lot of them became friends for life.
They do. And actually,
a few of them hate us, but a lot of them.
I don't know which ones those are. Actually, I know the ones that like us.
They don't tell us, but most people became friends for life.
There's not a place. Name a country in Europe, and I have at least one friend. The most probably being in Germany, but I've called on them. I've been friends for them now, like Angela. Remember Mike and Angie?
Yeah,
I stayed with them.
She's in Switzerland now.
Yeah, but I stayed with them 2 years ago when I was in Vienna.
Right.
I've called upon a lot of people that I've either I've hosted or they've hosted me back, and so it's been a great way of traveling and seeing and meeting friends, because it's nice. It's even better to travel, but it's nice to go someplace and already have a connection with somebody.
Definitely, yes.
And hosting people in Miami, it was a crazy time for a lot of the people we hosted.
Yeah. Also, there are some places that you don't discover if you don't have the right context. Like one good case is Austria. In Vienna has a reputation of being boring as fuck.
Yeah,
okay, it's classic music and boring as fuck.
Mozart.
Unless you know Mike and Jeannie, or you have some. Now I have some other friends there. They take you to the craziest underground clubs and the fucking concerts that are that don't show up in any magazine, and they introduce you to people that are like off the rails, but it's only because you know them.
Absolutely, you would never come across these places as a traveler. I mean, if you did, it would be really kind of like, it's not on a TripAdvisor. It's not like in an article somewhere.
One of my friends in Switzerland took me to a party that. Did you see Inglourious Bastards?
It's been a while since I've seen it, so I don't remember.
Remember the scene in the bar, on the underground bar, that those Germans, those Nazis are celebrating, and then they are meeting, and then there are the spies and all that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He looked exactly like that.
Yes.
He was in an underground party room of a castle.
Yes.
Kind of a castle in Switzerland. And now the guys had these uniforms that, let me be clear, didn't see swastikas anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
But it sounded like it.
Yeah.
I heard swastikas
Close
everywhere.
as you can get to it.
It was like everything in German, and they were yelling and singing these songs that sounded a lot like Asher songs. But they said a lot of stuff about, I don't know, it was in German. I'm not going to presume. But it sounded very, and the girls were serving the beer. The girls were not partying. The party was only the guys.
Okay.
And the girls were there just to serve.
Mm-hmm.
And they were bringing the beers, and you would call them, and they would bring you a new beer. And then the only way that I got in was because the girl that brought me in she was like the girlfriend of the president of the group, something like that. So she had to pull some strings.
Yeah.
So they invited me.
Exactly.
And I had to promise to never say their name. but I forgot their name, so it's easy to keep that promise. But it was something very underground, and I suspect it was very Third Reich. but I'm not sure. I'm not sure because I was not understanding the wording.
Yeah, and that's probably why they invited you too. They knew
Probably.
that'd be safe.
This American, he doesn't even know American. You know,
No.
like it's not. He's not going to be any problem. But it was funny as fuck, and sometimes the songs, the vibe of it really remind me of hashing. And it's funny, they all had these uniforms. The uniforms look like military uniforms, but occasionally it was like, some of them were like Beatles Yellow Submarine uniform, you know, like it's a little bit off, you know, like the shoulders are a little too much. Maybe it was the jacket for your father when he was in the army, you know, like
Or
I
just a
don't
thrift
know.
jacket, you never
it
know.
Was, yeah,
Something on
I
sale.
don't know. You couldn't tell if they were serious about the uniform or if it was a parody of it.
Yeah.
It was right in between. You couldn't tell. And then I thought, I can enjoy this party, or I can have them explain the party
Probably
to me.
yeah.
I prefer to enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, I just played along.
But that's why I enjoy coming to Europe a lot. Actually, I do love America, and it's always going to be my heart. But I really do enjoy a lot of things about Europe.
Yeah.
I've traveled to like 30 countries in Europe by now. I think I've taken a Euro pass. I did like 10,000 kilometers on the rail pass, and over one summer. And I've just enjoyed going from city to city. Now, I will tell you, in the south part of Europe, they party a lot more than the north.
I was walking the Camino de Santiago in Spain, and I was leaving Pamplona. And it was early in the morning on a Sunday. And I went out of the hotel, and there was all this trash everywhere, and trash cans overturned, and chairs here, and pieces of stuff over there. I asked someone what happened. Was there a riot or something?
Yeah.
They said, no, it was a soccer game yesterday.
Yes.
Barcelona was playing.
Yeah.
So, oh, fuck. So that in the city, the downtown, Pamplona, was like a tornado went through.
Party field, yeah.
It was their party.
But these type of things only happen in Europe, right? I mean, these type of underground parties, these type of...
Just watch the Run of the Bulls on TV one day. I want to go to the Run of the Bulls, and I want to be in one of those terraces.
Yeah, I'm not going
To
to be
watch
right
it.
down
I don't
the
want to
street.
run it. No,
Hell
I want to be in the terrace.
Yeah.
I want to see from above
Yeah.
people getting run over,
Yeah.
you know, and dying of natural causes because that's natural. If that's the kind of thing you choose to do. Yeah, I want to see it, definitely.
Yeah.
But as we are not going to be, don't worry, we will not be talking about politics too much. But there is one thing that I want to touch on, which is what I told you on Facebook, that a lot of times I notice that we agree fundamentally or even on the details.
Yeah.
We agree on very close to 100% of what we say about politics or philosophy in general. We are really in agreement.
Yeah.
And yet you say that you're a conservative, and I keep saying that I'm a liberal. But recently I was talking to Mike about it, and he kind of convinced me that I'm wrong. It's not that I'm not a liberal. I am a liberal, but I am a 19th century England liberal,
Right.
which is not the same as liberal in America. So I am misnoming it, or I am misusing the norm in the incorrect context. So I'm not a conservative either, but what happens is that if I have to map exactly what I am an England classic liberal.
Right.
Or in America, the closest approximation would be that I am a constitutional originalist
I think
and a federalist, partially libertarian.
Well, I think you'd be more like a libertarian. I mean,
close, but
I'm more of a libertarian than like
close. But when
a Democrat.
I one day I look at the libertarians, their ideas, I went like, oh shit,
things
no.
can get yeah.
Yeah,
I think I went to a libertarian school, and so I learned more about how to.
Yeah, but I studied this term, originalist. So I am an originalist. That means I like the original intent and interpretation of the Constitution.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the evolution of that interpretation and the amendments and the way the Constitution became the document that it is today. Actually, I am if I have to say what is the the only part that really attracts me to politics in America is that we have such a magnificent constitution,
which saved our democracy many
which
times.
is unique in its formation.
Yeah.
It's unique in its shape, and it's completely different than all the others. And the easiest way to explain is that in every other constitution, it says what are your rights, what it is that you can do. And the American Constitution is upside down. It doesn't say anything about your rights. All it says is about the limits of what the government can do. Mm-hmm. All the rights are presumed. So it's exactly the other way around. If you're in England, the Queen gives you the rights to do something. In America, you already have the rights.
Well, you're born with these rights.
You are born with all of them, with all the rights that exist, and now the rights that can be created or that can be imagined or codified, you already have them.
And then the Constitution protects those rights
against
the government.
Exactly, against the government. So the original, and that's why originalist, the original intent of the Constitution was to limit the government. Yeah. Not to nullify the government, not to stop it from doing anything. Yeah. So, because I understand that the government has a role and there are certain things that it has to do, either because it does better or because
it creates a function,
or because it does it in a way that is more proper or more conducive to rule of law and justice.
Well, you need to have a government to function.
There are certain things that it has to do. And I think it would be cynical and an exaggeration to call those necessary things socialism. It's not. The police has to be public, and it has to be serving everybody. And it has to be funded by the tax money. That doesn't mean that it's socialist. What it means is that it's shared among us, because there is a good reason for that. The socialism comes when you start choosing to do things in a socialized way.
Just imagine if someone could own the police.
Exactly.
I mean, then whoever owns it can see their best interest.
And that's what's going to happen partially now. In all these places that are defunding the police, do you think those cops are going to become accountants now? No, they are going to go and become private security.
Right.
They'll have the same or better equipment, but they'll have a little more loose rules of engagement,
which can be dangerous at the same time.
Can be dangerous.
I mean, it can be helping the general
and they will be serving the rich. So what happens that when you defund the police, you transfer some of that police power into private police for the rich. Yeah. Which is exactly opposite of the intent of the people that are yelling.
Well, I think it won't be to the rich, like the billionaires, but I think it will be transferring power to, militia has grown in America in the last 4 years.
Yeah, but...
And this militia is taking into the streets right now.
Yeah, but I think that the militia, it may be growing within the family, may be growing within the neighborhood, but it's not... There are no cops... in the police being defunded, and the cops leave and quit, and they say, "Oh, now I'll just join a militia."
Some are.
No, some are, but they're going to join another job, and that other job will probably be security.
It could be. It very well could
probably be in the area of security. So, all the force that police loses, I believe that most of that is going to go in private security.
And but a lot of the defunding the police is only going to hurt the inner city. It's not going to hurt suburbia. Because there'll be a line where you have the suburbians who own all the guns, And when the city people go to there, they're going to find out there's a wall. They got a gun.
They are noticing already because it's happening all the time. They try to go to the suburbs.
You're not going to do it.
And they see the people with their rifles and the SUVs.
Yeah.
And they say, well, not here. Not here.
Because, if you're going to own a gun in America, you're not going to own just one.
Usually not.
Well,
I have just one. That's
exactly.
Not fun.
So
what's the fun on it?
You're not going to own just one. Now, I don't personally own a gun because I don't live there, and I don't. At the time I lived there, I didn't need one.
Yeah.
But most Americans who own a gun have a collection of guns.
A lot of them. Actually, some time ago, I said that America is incredibly well behaved. And some of my friends even got offended by that. They said, what are you talking about? And I said, I'm going to explain sooner or later. Well, now is the time to explain. America has 327 million people. A little over 400 million guns.
Yeah.
10 years ago, it had one gun per person. It had 300 million people. 10 years ago. Now it has 400 million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Considering all the looting, the violence, the craziness, the lack of police.
And who's doing all the looting? Are the exact same people who wanted to take the guns away?
A lot of them, yeah. But a lot of them have guns too. Antifa is also very armed. But my point is, in a country with all this stuff happening at the same time and 400 million guns, we are incredibly well behaved. That means people are restraining.
We're also a nation that can self-govern.
They are being patient. They are being cautious.
Yeah.
They are not shooting when not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And not a lot is happening.
We're
and I think that tells. I think that is a great compliment.
But if you look at how the United States was formed, it was the same type of people who could self-govern themselves.
Exactly. So it's a great compliment on the quality of thinking of the common person.
Which is unfortunately slipping with this whole liberalism bullshit that's feeding into our inner cities.
Yeah, but to my point of the compliment, I think Americans are incredibly self-controlled and patient. Because if they were hotheads, there would be 10,000 bodies on the streets right now.
Absolutely.
Because they have the firepower to not just stop them from coming to the suburb. They can stop them from going home too.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
Yeah.
They never do.
And that's one thing.
And you see groups. The other day I saw a video of this group of Antifa armed with everything you can get at the store. And they clashed with a group of some right-wing whatever. Mm-hmm. And they were also loaded with guns.
Yeah.
Not a single bullet was exchanged.
Right.
And they talked to each other, seriously but respectfully. They showed their point and they said, no, we are going this way. And the others, yeah, you are going this way, but you are going this way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right. And then they went and not a single bullet was exchanged. Which shows in another way, in another example, that when there is this overwhelming show of force in both sides.
That was also thought out way before, because
exactly you think about the rules of engagement before you get out of the house, and that helps people that have a very good behavior to show the best version of their good behavior.
But it's only because you can, you saw as two groups come together, but it's only because both of them could have the right to bear arms.
Yeah.
Imagine one coming with no guns.
And you see this, you can be talking about as right-leaning as you want groups in America, no matter how much right-leaning they are. Even the very outright or the very whatever, okay?
Ultra-conservative.
You don't hear them saying remove the guns from the others.
Because most of them
You don't
are
hear
the
them.
ones that own it.
Exactly, because they have guns, but they're
Yeah.
not saying take the guns away from the blacks, take the guns away from
They
the
say if you
liberals.
come to my
No.
house, you know what you're going to expect.
Yeah, all they are saying is that I want to keep mine. Don't come to shit here.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But they are not saying disarm anybody else, because they understand that they also have to respect their right.
Well, they can protect themselves.
Exactly.
And if you're going to come to my neighborhood, you're going to come to my house. And if you bring your gun, just expect to know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And no person.
Exactly.
Now, if you have like a no-go zone, like for guns, and you're the only one with a gun, you're gonna, you're gonna be the dictator.
And I travel with guns in America many times, especially during my motorcycle rides, and in some places, like I knew that okay, my host he likes guns and all that, so I told them, hey, I'm bringing a gun. Is that all right? He said, yeah, keep it holster. Keep it in the holster.
Yeah.
But bring it in.
Yeah.
Don't leave it outside in the rain.
No.
So they're totally all right with that. And that's the end of the conversation. Also, we don't keep talking about guns because for a lot of us, guns are tools. Like I have a lot of tools. I have power tools. I have, I'm a carpenter. So I have a lot of tools. When I meet with my other carpenter friends, we don't keep exchanging notes on this drill bit is better. Or, you should see this electric saw. It's fucking amazing. We don't take photos with our carpentry equipment. They're just tools.
Yeah.
We like to keep them sharp and clean and ready.
Right.
The guns are the same. So to me, if you go to my house, show okay, this is the blender. This is the TV, this is the computer, this is the gun, this is the motorcycle.
But guns are cool, though.
It's just one more.
But guns are cool, though. They fire, they shoot things, they can blow things up. They're fun.
I'm not
They're fun to shoot, though.
I'm not that enthusiastic about them as most of my friends are. Like, I like to see, if you show me you have a different kind of gun, I want to take a look at it because it's a different kind, right? But that's where my curiosity ends.
Yeah.
I give it back to you, and to me, that is the end of the conversation. Some of my friends, they want to show their collection.
Hell yeah.
And
Come
then
down
they
the stairs.
And then you tell them you have their gun, they want to clean it. They want to disassemble it and show their ultrasound
But
cleaning.
people can do that with football, football fantasy or fantasy football. They can do their baseball cards. I mean,
exactly. I'm not that
with
enthusiastic.
Yeah.
To me, it's another tool. It's like I'm much more enthusiastic to look at your motorcycle, and I'm going to look at it for like 2 minutes, and then I say, okay, let's go drink.
Yeah.
It's not the equipment. I'm more curious about standards. For instance, if you have carpentry equipment, let's say you have a workshop, I want to see how you organize it.
Yeah.
I want to see the kind of maintenance you do to your equipment. If you have something that you are, like one day I visit a guy and he sharpens his drill bits, and I thought, oh shit, that's something interesting to know. So I spent 15 minutes learning how to do that with him, which is kind of exotic. It's not that you're going to save a lot of money, but it's going to save you a trip to Home Depot. So you don't need to go get a new.
Yeah.
You just get one of the old drill bits, sharpen it, and continue working. You don't need to get in the car and go get a new one.
Like anything else.
Exactly. So I learned to sharpen my knives recently and things like that. I learned to restore I have iron skillets now. And that I found in a abandoned. They were for years out in the field getting layers of rust.
Yeah. You restore
Cost
them?
$20 to buy them.
Yeah.
I spent an entire day restoring them.
Yeah.
So it's
That's
not
also fun to do
it's
that.
not for to save the money. It's to get the knowledge and learn the skill of how to stabilize that metal surface so it stops rusting.
Yeah.
So it's amazing.
That's why guys spend.
But I'm not that interested in iron skillets. If you have one, I don't want to see it. I don't give a shit.
Mine might be pretty amazing. You don't know. It could be a whole different shape.
Maybe. But I'm not that that attracted to guns themselves, but I like to know that people have them, and I like to know that they have good training.
I don't have any guns. Last time I shot a gun was probably 25 years ago at a wild turkey, and that damn thing that turkey probably is still running around now. 25 clip magazine. I emptied that damn thing left, right, behind, front. Never hit the turkey. And
you never hit the turkey?
Well, I've never had proper training with a gun. So, if I had to have had a gun today, I would have to have like a grenade or a shotgun. But you put a handgun in my hand and you run in my house, you're probably going to escape before I hit you. So, but if you have a shotgun, it has a wider range. So,
like they like to say, that's a good spread.
I would need a shotgun. Yes, I would need the shotgun. Why? I'm not a good aim. So I'd be the shotgun man. Yeah.
That guy, Bill Burr, he says that the best is to have a BB gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it doesn't kill, but the guy that you shoot with the BB gun, at least you'll have to go outside and regroup. Because that will hurt.
Yeah. I did have a BB gun growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not. So so I just wanted to say that I think I realize that it's best if I stop saying that I'm a liberal, and if
just say you believe in the Constitution.
No. If it is a short conversation, especially if a conversation with strangers, I don't want to give an explanation anyway. I'll just say I'm a liberal, but or I'll say I don't give a shit. But if it is someone that I'm going to actually explain what the fuck I am, then I'll say no. I'm an originalist. I really and my passion is for the Constitution, is not for any party.
Right.
In fact, I believe that both parties, Republicans and Democrats, are whores, and I think that I'll be very happy.
Well, if you read
I'll be very happy when we push them into the river. And, I hate both groups, and I think that anybody that trusts the bullshit that their party is saying is a fool.
Well, but liberals and have to be Democratic and Republican. It comes from the same thing.
Exactly, but when I have the conversations that I have with my friends that like politics, usually we dig into you like this idea, so why? So we go into the reasons why you like this, and then there are these reasons. Then we say, so what are the principles that came from? And usually we realize that we agree on the principles. When we occasionally disagree, it's more on how to implement them, or in details, or in the interpretation of a rule or of a situation, or the different interpretations of the numbers, because we are basing our interpretations in a different reading of the meaning of certain words. So, and I think that those discussions are pretty interesting, but they tend to be very long. And they are better done just one-to-one. Yeah. That's not the kind of conversation you want to have with 5 friends. No, you want to do that with one friend, so you can really go carefully and not stumble over his ideas. Yeah. And another thing that I like about that is that you can escape this fake duality of that is just Democrat and Republican. I'm really hoping that there will be in our past at some point soon. And
there's always going to be parties. I think they're going to change, but the best way to make a law is always to look at it on the individual level. You don't make laws for groups of people. You don't make laws for situational. You just make a law based on the individual.
Recently there was this proposal by Bernie to create a specific tax to tax just the billionaires and all that, and the entire thing was it was brilliant as long as you don't know math. If you totally ignore math and statistics and and economics, the idea was pretty brilliant.
That's how liberals always sell things. Exactly. If you don't know how to do math, you don't understand things. Yeah. This sounds great until it comes to you.
I love Bernie. I love his heart. I love his sentiments. But he doesn't understand math.
He doesn't understand anything.
He cannot put numbers together.
Anything.
Yeah. if you give him two numbers to hold on to, one will escape because he doesn't.
Milton, I'm really good at spending money, as long as it's yours.
Yeah,
right. When it
exactly.
comes to mine, I'm very conservative.
Yeah.
I'll spend yours all day long.
I'll spend your money very well,
Yeah.
and also I'm very willing to test my ideas of freedom, and I'm excited about testing my ideas of freedom, and I'm very willing to risk your life to prove it.
Right. I'll spend your time, your money, your mic fell down.
Exactly.
Your stuff.
So
Your mic.
it was very clear. It was very clear just reading the basic points of it that whoever wrote it, Bernie or whoever else, needs to go to school. Like high school, learn basic math, then go to economics, learn economics, and then try again. Okay, do a second try. Make another list. Yeah. But after you learn basic, very fundamental economics, and read the Constitution, by the way. Yeah. People throw bricks at the cops during the
peaceful protesting.
During the peaceful
protesters at the riots.
Yeah. If they were peaceful protests and they if they really cared about freedom, they would throw constitutions.
Why? No, you got it all wrong. You need a brick to show how.
You need a brick to show how right you are.
Yes.
No, but there was this situation is a little weird because the current situation because. Every protest that I saw in my life, with very few exceptions, I felt that I was on the side of the protesters.
It was probably more natural.
These ones, I feel like, fuck no.
These are organized. These aren't.
Fuck
these
no,
aren't,
I'm on the side of the cops on this one.
Yeah.
On this one, I want the cops to win. I want the cops to get the brick and throw it back. Because
it's not a natural protest. These are organized protests.
It's not a protest for an idea.
No. Well, it's an idea behind it.
No, but it's not like a fresh new idea that they want to implement. No. It's a protest against organization, against ideas, against
the Constitution,
against progress, and against the Constitution, by the way. So for the first time, I thought, fuck it.
But I think a lot of Americans is feeling that right now, and there's a lot of Americans who.
Someone will try to cancel me because of it, and here's my answer, buddy. I don't give a shit. I don't have advertisers. Just try it. Yeah. I don't have advertisers, and I posted in several places, not just YouTube. So there is nothing you can do about it.
Not a damn thing. And most of our friends will find us anyway.
And most of our friends are already assholes anyway, so they love us. They don't have a problem with it.
The crazy uncle to family.
So now we have proper Netherlands beer.
Close
2 brands from Netherlands.
Yes.
So cheers. Yeah. I like Netherlands a lot, but I'm more fascinated with Scandinavia.
Yeah? What do you like about Scandinavia?
It's full of Scandinavians.
Shit. Really?
That's what I really like.
There's no spray for that? Like mosquitoes.
It's full of them.
Wow.
I love it. Yeah. I love them. I find them smart, funny, beautiful, energetic. Mm-hmm. Sexy in a way.
Outdoorsy.
It's outdoorsy, yeah. The sexiness in the Scandinavians was very well explained by Doug Stanhope. He said that they are sexy like a Disney sexy, the Disney beauty. It's like a Barbie doll that you lift the skirt and that is just flat there. There is nothing. They come out when they are born. They come out of the womb already clean and talcum, and they have hair, and they wear a blue suit, and they thank the doctor and drive home. So it's like everything is ready, and,
oh shit!
And there is no. That is, in other words, there is no horror in them.
Okay.
There is no disorganization. They are not. Pillaging and raping and murdering Vikings anymore. They are IKEA Vikings now.
IKEA, that's right. They're going to conquer one big ass store at a time.
But it's I find them fascinating. It's maybe because of the contrast with the cultures that I live with so far, and also because I read so many books of histories of the history of the Vikings, and I found them fascinating. Not just what happened, not the history in the sense of what happened, in the history in the sense of how they used to think about themselves, how did they take care of their family, how did they conduct business, how did they think about the world, how did they think about other people.
Right.
I think it is a fascinating representation of the way the modern world is, but in a very primal expression of it, and I like it so much. So when I go there to Sweden, I have been only to Sweden, and Estonians consider themselves Scandinavians too. To me, they are. So since I have been going there and visiting and going to their bars and singing with them, and and enjoying their company. I observe that so many people say they declare themselves something, right? So there are people that declare themselves black, or they declare themselves another gender or something. I thought, what the fuck? I'll go with that. I'll declare myself Viking. I am Viking now. I am a 9th century Viking.
Jesus.
That's what I am.
Very good.
Yeah. Plus, I am a male lesbian.
You're a male lesbian.
I am a male lesbian. I just covered that.
Is there a check mark that you can be a male lesbian? I wasn't sure that there was a gender for that.
No, it's not a gender. It's a sexual orientation. I am a male lesbian, and I am a 9th century Viking. And I'm enjoying life so much more.
I feel like I don't put myself in any box. I feel like I'm kind of like left out of this whole thing.
I just do like I did. Choose the box.
Shucks, I have to start writing.
Choose whatever box is the most interesting and funny and comfortable, and jump right in. What can they say?
Nothing.
Nobody can say anything, right?
It's a fill-in answer.
They have to respect your choices.
Right, it's a fill-in answer.
Exactly. So I am having a really nice time.
Good.
Just being a 9th century male lesbian Viking.
Very good.
Yeah. It's
Very good.
it's working perfect. So what are the plans now for you, man? What are you doing?
Well, you talked about like how teaching and kind of making your ways led on one thing to another. And that's one thing since I was very young is I didn't have dreams and aspirations of having a house, having a white picket fence, having a dog, living the traditional life. And I've tried it. Didn't work out. And I found it rather boring. And unfortunately, it just didn't go that way for me. But one fascination thing I always had was traveling. And so I don't know how it's going to continue out. I mean, who the hell knew back in January, February that Tiger King was going to be the most common thing in your life for 2020?
What's Tiger King? What the fuck's that?
You have not heard of Tiger? You probably don't have Netflix.
I'm the one that doesn't know what it is.
I'm not going to explain it. You just need to Google it.
Okay, then. All right.
You need to Google
That's
it.
my punishment.
Holy shucks.
Yeah.
But
I never watched Game of Thrones.
I didn't either, but let me tell you, when the whole entire internet is talking about Tiger King, and I'm like, what the hell is it? I was kind of like you back in February. I'm like, actually, I borrowed a friend's login for their Netflix, and I watched Tiger King. I watched episode 1. I was like, that is awesome. It's so awesome. And then, episode 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you kind of walk away with it, not knowing what the hell you just watched. But it was really interesting. And
the last thing that I really like on Netflix was Love, Death, and Robots. It was amazing. It was amazing. Because it's several episodes. Each one is a different story. So it's a collection of short stories. Some of them are so funny, or insightful.
Yeah,
you like it.
So what comes next? No one can predict 2020. I was going to stay in China for a couple years. Save up, and then move on and do something different. And what that difference is, I don't know. Opportunities come to you at the moment sometimes, or in 2 years. The opportunities in 2 years were not 2 years ago. And so right now, we're going to Albania next month, or later on this month. And if you would have told me back in January that you're going to end up in Albania, I would say, what in the world is going to happen?
If I said that you were going to Albania, I would definitely use the words end up.
Yeah. End up? Well, I don't know.
Albania is like Dennis.
Yeah.
You never go to Dennis. You end up there.
Yeah, you end up there. That's pretty much true.
Albania, sorry. I know I'm not going to make any friends in Albania by saying this. But, yeah, you end up there.
But we'll see what happens. It's warm. It's on the coast.
The great thing about Albania is that it's surrounded by amazing neighbors. It's Greece to one side, it's Montenegro to the other side, Macedonia to the other side.
And you can take the ferry to Corfu. So we're going to go there.
And Italy across the ocean.
So we're going to go there and just kind of wait till the world reopens. And, we were stuck in Bali for 6 months, 5 months. Mm-hmm. We were only supposed to be there for like 14 days. So at this point in life, I'm just kind of going with the flow of things. We have some choices that we could do. Mm-hmm. And so we're kind of just really choosing to have fun right now in a time that you really can't choose anything other than. Mm-hmm. So we can't go back to China. Going home is too expensive right now with everything going on there. I don't want to be there. And
just being there costs so much money.
It does. And again, you talked about why do people like travel and teach English? Mm-hmm. I pay $7 a month for my cell phone service. Life is just so much cheaper, and you have such more quality of life. Mm-hmm. And that's why I enjoy doing what I do. Teaching is just what gets me by. But exploring and living and learning in those cultures is what I do. And I've just enjoyed it. I'm not ready to go home and, live a traditional life just yet, or if I ever do. And it's far more interesting. It's just far more interesting. And I remember growing up, you only have one life. What are you going to do with it? And you're going to just keep doing the same thing every day, just so you own a house at the end.
And do you believe it's your last life?
Well, I don't remember the previous one, but, not to get too much into that, But right now, this is the current one.
I think it's the last one for me.
You?
I feel it.
You find it that pinnacle?
No, I just feel that I cannot operate on the presumption. I cannot operate on the presumption that is going to be another one. So if this is the last one, better use it well.
Exactly.
Better do something.
Yeah.
And so I'm just now waiting. I keep so instead of thinking in terms of I'm going to do this and then I'll retire and then do the other stuff. My view of life is pedal to the metal all the way to the crash.
But like we were just talking about, that's Western culture thinking. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to sound like I've been enlightened to anything, mm-hmm. But when you spend a lot of time in Eastern culture and you see how they live and what they do, they don't have, Western culture's creeped in, but they don't have these things like career tracks and ladders and shit like that.
Well, neither do I now, because I just decide, I have my projects, I have the things that I want to do, and it's pedal to the metal, and I don't mind to, in the sense that, I'm not going to say that I don't mind that a project fails. No, of course I do a lot of things and some of them fail. It's not that I don't mind. What happens is that it doesn't affect me emotionally that much, because I know that some things are not going to work. Yeah. I cannot predict too well which ones are not going to work. Yeah. But I know that some of the things I try, some of the people that I want to approach, some of the things that I want to learn, it's not going to work out.
But also you learn how to rely on yourself. Yeah. You've been able to put yourself in positions that you can determine the outcome best you can.
Yeah, but what I mean is I don't think of my life as build this career and then enjoy retirement and then go to the old folks home of my choice.
I've heard the villages in Florida that they have a lot of crazy parties, those old farts.
Yeah. I heard that too. I heard some stories. I heard some stories. But
not that I want to be there.
I want to I want to build my network that I'm building. Then I want to build my boat. Then I want to sail the world. I want to visit the world by boat.
Yeah.
And I want to bring my home with me. Because since 2014, I start feeling the need to have a home.
Yeah.
So, but I want to travel, so I want to bring my home with me. That's going to work out.
And that's going to work out for you because you're going to keep applying yourself to it. It's going to work out.
Exactly.
So with me going, what's next? I'm not even going to try. I mean, I know there's goals I have in my life. There's places I want to get, things I want to see and do. But, I don't necessarily think I want a career or I want to be stationary in one spot or, generally speaking, I want to have a good life. But I'm creating that life as well. And it's just not in that structure of which we're taught from an early age in America. And it can be scary at first to step out, but once you feel comfortable with it and understand this is what I choose to do, you can learn to have a lot of fun. And there's a lot of things as an American you can do that sometimes not other nations are able to do. So you should take full advantage of that, other than just staying in America.
Yeah. I wish more people in America travel. And by travel, I mean years.
It would
Because
definitely make them a better person.
It improves their view of it.
Yeah.
That is that quote that says that that I fear the world view of people that didn't view the world.
Right.
And I really sometimes I like to suggest, but then you have to do it very carefully because they take it as very offensive. When you say, you should travel more, because they take it as, oh shit. But in fact, a lot of people, they should travel more. They would see how things actually work. I'll give an example, practical example. When this COVID thing started, and it was very difficult to choose what is the strategy that I'm going to follow on this? I'm going to try to protect more or expose more? I'm going to lock down or travel? What is it? What is the strategy here? And at the end, I decided to follow the opinions of only two people, Scott Adams and Mike, a friend that is right there drinking a beer. And they said about the same things, and they were right on the money. And they said that in March. Right, their predictions, their ideas about how to handle it in a personal level, how to handle it as you travel, how to think of it as the government tells you what to do. I think their ideas were both compatible and effective.
Well, they're also
very
experienced
effective.
travelers too, right?
And what happens that not Scott.
No,
Scott but he's a very experienced economist. And in finance and in business and in the real world. Mike traveling the world for decades. He's approaching 30 years of travel now. So he knows every culture or every application of rules that you can think of. He saw it applied in several different contexts. And then he can say, but if you do like this, then the other person on the other end of that equation is going to lose. And that's how they are going to react to it. So he knows very well how those things happen. So I basically based all my decisions just on that.
And I've traveled, I've lived in some communist countries, socialist countries, and I've seen how those policies affect people, how it affects people at very young ages, even the people I've taught. And it gives me even more respect and admiration for the United States, what it's created for humanity. And so people want to change that right now, but they really don't know what they're buying into.
And I know you don't feel so optimistic as I am about America right now.
Well, I feel optimistic.
But I'm more. I'm really excited. I'm telling people 2020 is the best year of my life. It's like everything is happening. We are reaching resolutions for a lot of things that weren't resolved in a long time. It's like when the man is walking through the jungle and he meets the tiger. Nature does not prefer the man, and it does not prefer the tiger. Nature doesn't have a favorite on this fight. What nature wants is a resolution. And we are getting a resolution in a lot of things that we have been just talking about for many years, and now we are seeing the results. People are trying their crazy ideas.
Yeah, everyone's laying down their cards.
Stupid ideas and the traditional ideas, they are trying it out, and we are seeing the results immediately.
Yeah.
And I think that is amazing.
That is
amazing because we're going to see, because everything ends up being judged by the same standard, which is, did it work?
Or did it not?
Or did it not? And people are going to look at something and say, that shit doesn't work.
And a lot of people
let's
being
stop
exposed.
it. Yeah, a lot of people are being exposed by the crazy, shitty ideas they have. And also, I felt that I had to revise some things that I thought too. I like that feeling. I learned to enjoy it. The feeling of discovering where I'm wrong, like my insistence in calling myself liberal in America. Right. It gets misinterpreted all the time.
Yeah.
And that was something that I had to change. So I'm not a conservative. I'm an originalist. Yeah. So that means I don't fit into the Republican Party. And I tried, because I used to think I was.
Yeah.
No, oh my God, I went to one of their meetings. I went to one meeting of the Republicans, and I thought, this is fucking crazy. These people are insane. Like, this is delusional. Then I thought, maybe I am a libertarian, and I was in New Hampshire. Yeah. That's the home of the libertarians, right? I went to one of their meetings. It was the last libertarian meeting I ever attended, because it was completely cuckoo. It was like, some people are completely disconnected. They have a radio that they talk to aliens from.
Those are sometimes
somewhere.
The people, the ones that usually step up and try to lead sometimes, and it's just like, who is this person?
I thought it was. It was like a parody. To me, the libertarian meeting felt a lot as if the Babylon Bee or the Onion tried to make a parody of a Republican Party. Mm-hmm. And then I thought, this is a caricature. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. And these people believe what they are saying.
Of course they do.
They do believe it, but it's a caricature of reality. Mm-hmm. And then I thought, no, apparently, parties are not for me.
Which is actually probably the best way for most people to think.
Probably, yeah.
Because you don't want to get yourself locked into one way of thinking and having them tell you the way you should think.
Exactly.
And you just kind of go along with everything they say.
Yeah, and then I found other things to spend my attention on. I discovered personal hobbies and things that occupy my time, and then later I discovered running and traveling and hashing. Mm-hmm. So if I need a cult, I go to the hash.
Yeah, it's far more important.
Yes, more fun.
And that's one thing I do enjoy about traveling a lot of times, because I don't get weighed down in those things that you're talking about. Uh-huh. There's a lot of personal growth that I've gone through my traveling. You always have to sort things out. You always have to make decisions, and those decisions have consequences, good or negative. And you spend a lot of time with yourself really examining your choices of life, right? And just imagine being like in snow in the middle of nowhere in some foreign country. Like, how the hell
when you are alone, there is nobody looking, and you can really think about the shit that you did, and the people you hurt, and the things that you want to do, and that you or admit when you lie to yourself. We all should go through a period like that. Mm-hmm. I did it when I ran. For 4 months. Yeah. There was enough time, and I'm happy that you.
Everybody needs that. They need to go through something that they can deal with themselves. Mm-hmm. But day-to-day life, it keeps you from yourself. It's just a routine. And so I've been very fortunate that I'm able to travel a lot. But it's been my lifestyle. And I've given up other things because of it. And but I don't know what I'm going to do next. But looking to the past to kind of tell me where I'm going to go, it's going to be a little bit the same. I might slow down a little bit, pick some place to live. But I don't know what's going to be yet. And when I find it, then I'll know. But I can pretty much say it'll probably be temporary. But I keep moving, because When I'm there, I'm stationary. I have my house, I have my apartment, I have my personal belongings, I put my stuff out, and that's my base. I can work, I can teach, I can do this, I can travel, I can come back to it. And I can renew my contract, either it's here or over there.
You like to have a regional base.
Yeah, but then it can change once a year or every 2 years. And that's okay.
One thing that will happen is that in another 2-3 years, I'm going to invite you to visit me on my new home,
That'd be awesome.
on my boat.
That'd be awesome. I look
And
forward to
that home will be every year in a different place.
it. Yeah.
No, I'm thinking of, first I need to be around Florida for a little while I'm testing and making sure everything's working fine. But then after that, I want to take it to the North Sea. I want to visit Scandinavia, then Europe, Mediterranean, and then there's a wall.
I'll probably bump into you a few times.
Probably.
You never know. Like you start in Miami, you can see you in the Mediterranean.
You'll be I'll give you one of those frequent flyer cards. You can visit
and find my friends. So I can find, where's Milton? Oh, here he is. Yeah, it's only 100 miles from me. I'll go see him. Yeah.
No, there are many friends that I would like to invite, and when I daydream about the boat, which I'm not much of a daydreamer, I'm more of a dreamer and then plan and then do it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm more like regimented in that sense. But sometimes I relax and I just think, okay, how is it going to be? And I always imagine like this. If you were a mountain climber, what is the goal? What is the climax of that adventure? It's to get to the summit of that mountain, right?
Some.
And then when you do, you start planning, okay, now I want the summit of that other mountain, right?
Yeah.
And you do all the preparations and you think of everything that has to happen to get to that point. I have a mountain to climb. The summit of that mountain, that metaphorical, the top of it is, I am on my boat, I'm surrounded by amazing friends, and I'm cooking.
Yeah.
In my ideal, perfect day, I am the chef. Because I love cooking.
Yeah.
You know, but I want to be the chef in my kitchen that I built, which
And you're
happens
hosting
to
your
be on
friends.
my boat that I built.
Yes.
Right? But the purpose, if someone asks, so what is the purpose of the boat? Is to have a kitchen.
Yeah.
What is the purpose of the kitchen? Is to host my friends.
Yes.
And then I want to travel the world learning cooking.
Okay.
That's what I want to do. So in my most ambitious thoughts about it, my friends leave after a few days, enjoying being on the boat with us, convinced that they just had the best meals of their life.
Well, I'll tell you, if you invite me for dinner, I'll have the best meal.
That is where I'm setting up the bar. I want them to leave convinced that they had, if not the best, among the
But it's
very
also
best.
just being amongst friends, right?
Yeah, because also being a crazy, unusual person, you start accumulating crazy, unusual friends.
Yeah.
And I think that I have a combination of friends that is so odd right now, and is only going to get more odd with the network, with the Xenia project and the boat and my travels and the motorcycles and the sailing. So my group of friends is going to get really exotic.
It might look like the
And
society.
It's a weird group of friends. It's not like you imagine a bunch of people getting together on a boat, and there will be bikers, sailors, couch surfers, other travelers, people that ride bicycles around the world, backpackers, criminals, prostitutes, scientists. Those are my friends. That's the kind of people that I have close to me.
We all know them.
So they have the best stories to tell.
Of course.
And they have some of the weirdest stories to tell. Now imagine a boat where people from all these different lines of life are meeting there and getting to know each other and exchanging stories. I like to say, and I want to engrave on my table on the saloon, which is the living room on the boat, right? I want to engrave on the table. I hope this will be the most interesting table in the world, because that is the goal for that table. I want to engrave on it. I hope this will be the most interesting table in the world.
By chances it will be.
Yeah, and then I will be focusing on cooking. I want to keep these people drunk and well fed, and so, for instance, to me, it's incredibly important that we have a hookah, shisha.
Yeah.
But I discovered a shisha that is horizontal. It's a work of art. It's a beautiful, amazing glass shisha that is actually low. So even if the boat is shaking a little bit, it's not a problem. It's not that vertical.
You always put duct tape on it.
Yeah. Right? So I want to have a dash shisha, and I want to do a barbecue. I want to have a teppanyaki table. So there are all these ideas that I want to play with, and a lot of them are about cooking. And now every time I have an opportunity, I observe how people cook.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are, by the way, in the presence of Xavier. He's the owner of this place. Very nicely allow us to do the podcast here. He's a fantastic cook. He doesn't talk about it. He doesn't mention it. But you go to visit him and he decides to make some food.
Yeah.
You eat that, you go like, fuck, this is amazing, and it's incredible. I stayed with his mother in Cannes 3 years ago. Oh my God, she cooked some of the best things I ever had. Very impressive.
Nice.
Old French lady. Yeah. That was really cool. And his parents traveled a lot too, so they had this thing. So yeah, that's my project. I want to.
It sounds awesome. I've been talking about it
for many years, and I'm getting there.
Awesome. Where are you with the project right now?
The engineering is very advanced now. I think I am around 6 months to a year from really completing out the engineering of it, everything that I need to decide before I start building. And most of that I'm doing that myself, and I have other people helping.
Are you taking an old boat and retrofitting it, or
just building from scratch?
Nice.
Building a new one.
Nice.
Financially, it doesn't make any fucking sense. It's much cheaper to get a boat and just adapt. But my project is not just to have the boat; it's to make it.
Yeah.
It's to learn all the engineering of it and all the architecture. So yeah. But the design, ideally, if it is in Miami, if it is in South Florida, ideally I would have to build it indoors.
Yeah.
Because the humidity is so high. Or if I want to build it outdoors, then it has to be like Texas or west of Texas. So the humidity, the environment is a little better for that.
How many feet is this boat going to be?
It would be a 65.
Oh, nice.
To be big, yeah. So that's the plan.
Sounds awesome. I look forward to being on it.
All right, man.
I'm definitely not going to be on it in Miami. I'll make sure I come over someplace like Greece, Albania, China.
Yeah.
One of those places. I look forward to it, though.
It was so good to have you on this podcast, man.
Thank you
so much. Not the last one, though.
No. Thank you,
We'll do it again. All right.
We hope you like this podcast as much as we like to produce it. This has been made possible by the efforts of dozens of volunteers, supporters, partners, and visionaries that are helping us build Voyager's World. Please visit our website,